Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke mwaha. Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke mwaha. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi.
Good morning to you, Africa and the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this biggest platform of the WorldSkils Africa competition that is on the African continent. I'm Ilago Shitatala and I am the official host for the breakfast program that is Skills Rise. Now, today our program will be a little bit interrupted due to the official opening of the conference, and we will not have our full hour program due to that. To our viewers who are not in the know, let me give you a little bit of context. Now, the WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022 competition is a 3-tier event. It basically happens in 3 folds. That is skills competition, career exhibition, and TVET Conference. The TVET Conference is happening under the theme Promoting Skills Development in the 21st Century for Sustainable Economic Growth and African Ownership. Well, the Minister of Higher Education will be the keynote speaker at the event. Apart from that, we are also expecting to hear a statement from the WorldSkils International President, also board chairperson, that is Mr. Chris Humphreys. We are also expecting to hear statements by Mr. Albert Nse-Ngumwa, Executive Secretary at the Association for the Development of Education and Africa, as well as His Excellency Professor Mohamed Bellosini, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology Innovation, African Union Commission. Those are the conference partners. We are also, like I said earlier, expecting the keynote address by Honorable Dr. Ita Kanji Murangi, who is the Minister of Higher Education, Training and Innovation. Well, please stand by for the opening of the conference. I now hand over the platform to Dr. Nanda, who will officiate the conference opening.
A very good morning, distinguished delegates. Please, can you join me in singing the national and the AU anthem? May we rise, please.
Now meet the honor of the brave freedom fight we have won. Glory to their bravery, whose blood waters our freedom. together. The victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. O sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
We may be seated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raymond Nanda. I'm the Deputy Executive Director in the Ministry of Higher Education, Technology, and Innovation. I'll be your captain during the next 3 days. By way of introduction, although it is not my task to welcome you, please allow me just to extend a warm welcome to all of you at this very, very important conference, which is taking place over the next 3 days under the theme, Promoting Skills Development in the 21st Century for Sustainable Economic Growth and Africa Ownership. During the next 3 days, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by various stakeholders to interrogate, share, learn from one another, share experiences, benchmark, etc. During this conference, we'll be unpacking 4 sub-themes, which are as follows: effective TVET systems, TVET funding models, TVET and technology, and gender and social inclusion in TVET. With these few introductory remarks, please join me in welcoming Dr. Alfred van Kent, who's going to present the official welcoming remarks. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Nanda. The Honorable Dr. Ita Kanji Morange, Minister of Higher Education, Technology and Innovation, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, the Honorable Governor of the Erongo region, Her Worship, the Mayor of Swakopmund, Your Excellency, Professor Balosin, African Union Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, the President and Chair of the Board of WorldSkils International, Mr. Chris Humphreys, Mr. Lin, the board member of WorldSkils International, and I heard you are responsible for capacity building. Staff of WorldSkils International that has been supporting us with the organization of this event, Mr. Albert Sengiyuma, Executive Secretary of the Association for the Development of Education in Africa, our distinguished sponsors, Director Generals, Permanent Secretaries or their representatives, heads of public enterprises in Namibia. I've seen the Vice Chancellor of the University of Namibia, Professor Matengu. I've seen Dr. Naumap, the Vice Chancellor of our Namibia University of Science and Technology. I've seen our CEO of Qualifications Authority, Mr. Herzer, the CEO of NTA Namibia Training Authority, Mr. Jode Serika, CEO of our funding arm, the Namibia Student Financial Assistance Fund, and all the various heads of our TVET centers here represented. Our presenters and moderators, official guests, official delegates, observers, and our competitors, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all of you. Yes, it is indeed a pleasure and honor to give welcoming remarks on behalf of the Ministry of Higher Education and the Namibia Training Authority at this special event, WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022 Conference. The development and continuous upskilling of our workforce is a critical component for our economic competitiveness and sustainable development. Technology is rapidly changing, and therefore it requires agility and responsiveness from our education and training systems. Our workforce needs to be continuously reskilled. This is where lifelong learning becomes much more important. They said that the jobs that we have today will be out in few months or few years from now. So we need to be able to continuously re-educate ourselves. Our responses to this dynamic and changing environment should include the development and the strengthening of our innovation ecosystems that facilitates the free flow of development-relevant knowledge and skills. A center premise of innovation systems is the strategic networks that are critical and that are important for the sharing and exchange of knowledge and skills. I'm therefore delighted that as part of WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022, this conference is organized. In this conference, its main purpose is to facilitate knowledge sharing by the various experts that came from all over the world, various industry leaders that are here with us. They will cover, as the Deputy Executive Director has indicated, quite a number of disciplines or areas, be it governance of our TVET systems, our funding models, technology, and the issue of inclusion is a very critical thing. When I was going through the stalls, I've realized even the VTCs are now venturing into training people living with disabilities. I think they deserve really a hand at this stage. It is therefore my pleasure to welcome our Honorable Governor of the region, Ms. Honorable Neville Andre Itope, Her Worship, the Mayor of Swakopmund. Welcome. The team from the African Union Commission, welcome, Professor, and thank you for your partnership in the development of this critical area, skills development for Africa. Very important if we want to transform our economies. We have been talking about industrialization for many years. This is the right direction that we should go into. I wish to welcome you, Mr. Humphreys, and your team to Namibia and to this beautiful town of Swakopmund. Enjoy your time here. Our official delegates, I know there are many, and from all 10 countries, the observers, the experts, the competitors, and in particular, Team Refugee, for joining us today. Welcome to Namibia and welcome to the coast of Namibia, Swakopmund. Our communication experts and media experts, you are the ones that ensures that everyone out there is informed about this event. Therefore, a special word of welcome to you all. I was informed that there are various linkages with different media houses all over the world to inform people about this special event. Our distinguished sponsors, I will not dare to mention them all. There are quite a number of sponsors that we have got. For your generosity, thank you very much. This is truly investment in the growth of our country, the transformation of our country. Let's network and create strategic partnerships through which we will impact our development and also address our national challenges. I know youth unemployment is one of the critical challenges that we are experiencing. Africa is a very youthful continent. I have heard last night, more than 65% is young people in Namibia. It's a dividend that we should really nurture and we should empower so that we can transform our economy. We should change the slow pace of economic transformation. Feel welcome, and thank you very much, and enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Van Kent. In the interest of time, I'm not going to repeat what you've said. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me by welcoming Mr. Chris Humphreys, the President and Chair of the Board of the WorldSkils International, to present his statement.
Your Excellency, Professor Mohamed Balochine, Honourable Minister Dr. Ita Kanji Marangi, Dr. Alfred Van Kent, Mr. Muvatera and Josie Siririka, all our distinguished speakers, honoured guests, delegates, colleagues, and I hope I may now say to many of you, friends. On behalf of WorldSkils International, welcome to the conference at WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022. We are here this week thanks to the extraordinary efforts of a lot of people and organisations, and I hope you don't mind if I start by paying tribute to them. Thank you to the African Union Commission, the African Union Development Agency, the German International Development Agency, GIZ, the Association for the Development of Education in Africa, Skills Initiatives for Africa, and of course our hosts today, WorldSkils Namibia. And finally, to all our speakers and you, all our delegates, thank you for joining us here and for sharing your knowledge, your expertise and wisdom. The theme of the conference reflects the goals of our second WorldSkils Africa competition: promote skills, prioritise sustainability, and build capacity in Africa. Africa has the youngest population in the world, and therefore the fastest growing labour force. We support your plans to empower African youth, to improve the quality of TVET, to increase employability and youth employment, and to grow entrepreneurship amongst young people, because they will be the foundations on which our new society is built. With a strong focus on closing skills gaps across the continent through greater links with industry and better alignment to labour markets, we can achieve these ambitions, whilst particularly targeting those who are underserved and underrepresented. Each of you is working towards these goals every day. I've read the CVs of our speakers and many of our delegates, and I know that is your shared commitment to progress. You are creating education, skill development, and employment opportunities that are transforming Africa. Every day, Africa increases its impact in the world. Just last month, the most prestigious prize for architecture in the world was won for the first time by an African. The Pritzker Prize was given to Francis Kerry from Burkina Faso in West Africa. But it wasn't awarded for a magnificent opera house or an elaborate museum. His winning buildings included a primary school and a health centre, using inexpensive, sustainable materials and, most importantly, brilliant, innovative designs that involved the whole community in which this development is located. A place of learning and skills built by Africans, for Africans, and with Africa at its heart and soul. That's the message of this conference too. We have been so impressed by the team and partners organising WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022, and have no doubt that this conference will be another exceptional event. WorldSkils International recognised many years ago now that despite our global reach, Africa was underrepresented in our network. In a continent of 54 countries and over 1.2 billion people, there were just 5 African members before 2014 and only 2 in sub-Saharan Africa. Our response was to create Vision 2025, our ambitious 10-year strategic plan for expansion and increased impact. We committed to increase our work with countries and regions who are seeking to improve economic opportunities for growth, and with a particular focus on Africa. Working with partners like the African Union and global development agencies and our industry partners, we began to see how best we could mobilise our global network to support your work. WorldSkils Africa is one realisation of that vision. There are also practical ways in which we can support this. Our capacity building centres from Korea and Chinese Taipei share expertise gained over decades, while individual WorldSkils members like France, Belgium, Germany, all of whom have representatives here this week, Brazil, UK, and many others, have developed training programs for experts and for TVET institutions and their competitors and students across a wide range of industry sectors and occupations. Those young competitors and the experts who support them are working towards the global benchmark of excellence that we promote through our WorldSkils occupational standards. And this conference is another important element of that work. We view conferences as a critical component of WorldSkils events. They are how our network inspires, learns, collaborates, and expands. They bring together stakeholders from across the skills community, educators, policymakers, industry partners, and experts, all under one roof to share their knowledge and experiences of best practice in TVET and in skills development. Here at the Dome, over the next 2.5 days, we have skilled young people, employment specialists, university professors and lecturers, funding experts, specialists in skills and TVET from Africa and from all over the world. You are here to share with us what you know and to learn from each other and from all our delegates in the process. This exchange of ideas, this coming together of knowledge and experience is how collectively we can support the African skills agenda and further unify its skills community. It is also how the global community can learn from the many innovations that can and will be developed by and with African expertise. And you will begin to shape international best practice as you innovate and develop from your unique perspective. The need for rapid economic and personal recovery from the pandemic makes all your work especially important. COVID-19 disrupted the education of literally hundreds of millions of young people and damaged their hopes for employment. It has been particularly brutal on young women and girls, already a marginalised group in many nations, and it's damaged across all skills and industries. So making vocational education and training accessible for all must be the priority for governments, for policymakers and educators, and should be a committed objective for industry and commerce too. Together, through this conference, I believe we can and will enhance our understanding of the priorities and opportunities to emerge more united and focused on the power of skills, to change lives, to change communities, to change countries, and to change the future. Together, we can be a collective voice for the power of vocational skills and training, speaking loudly and clearly, not just for those competitors here with us this week, but for all young Africans and for the future of this extraordinary continent. Thank you so much for travelling with us on this journey and helping to build what I believe will be a new and very exciting future for Africa. Thank you very much.
Hakweto chirongo shiwaye Ntodi machike nandotoi kova fisbei Haye Swakopmunda kokuvare.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another hand of applause to Mr. Humphreys. Next on our program, we have made some slight changes to the program. I would now invite His Excellency Professor Mohamed Bolsin, Commissioner, Education, Science and Technology and Innovation of the African Union. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Mohamed.
Kokuvare munda mwimu nokuvare novusteine Ule wapi mu lele wake as far as the eye can see.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Sorry, I have my voice, which is a little bit different from yesterday. I don't know why. I had a director when I was younger who used to call me Mr. Bellocini for a long time. And the whole regional office for Africa of WHO called me Bellocini. Until the day I was in front of him, I was, a little bit shied by him. And then he heard me telling somebody else, we were in a meeting like this, the person was asking me, what does your name mean? So I said, my name is a French contraction of Ibn al-Hussein, the son of Hussein. And therefore, in French, it is pronounced Bel-Hussein. It's easier to understand this way and to pronounce it properly because I saw people struggling with it yesterday and this morning. So thank you very much. Your Excellency, Dr. Ita Kanji-Murangi, Minister of Higher Education, Technology, and Innovation, Namibia. Honorable ministers here present, Honorable Governor of the region, Mr. Chris Humphreys, President and Chair of the Board, WorldSkils International, Dr. Alfred, Mr. Albert Nzengiumva, sorry for the pronunciation, you will give me the same explanation later, Executive Secretary Association for the Development of Education in Africa, the Mayor of Swakopmund, this beautiful city, distinguished partners, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to join you for this TVET conference. May I, from the onset, express my sincere appreciation and gratitude once again to the Republic of Namibia for hosting this second edition of WorldSkils Africa 2022. I also wish to thank WorldSkils International and all our partners for their collaboration in making this conference happen. Our theme, promoting skills development in the 21st century for sustainable economic growth and African ownership, is also quite apt as it resonates with the African Union vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. This conference comes at a time when Africa is at a turning point within its demographic structure, given its youthful population, with those under 35 estimated at 65% of the total population. Out of the 13 million youths that enter the labor market each year, only 3 million get jobs. Additionally, it is only 33% of the youth who are in wage employment, while the rest are either underemployed or in vulnerable employment. Additionally, our education and training systems are yet to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic that threatened to worsen the crisis in learning, ensuring equity, relevance, and affordability. There are currently major concerns about the increasing skills mismatch between skills and jobs, putting to question the relevance of our education and training systems, particularly their ability to meet demands of a labor market whose dynamics, needs, and trends are not always well mastered. The conference is therefore timely as it accords us the opportunity to engage, share experiences, learn how we can address these challenges, and develop concrete solutions on how best to catalyze a skills revolution that is inclusive and drives Africa's economy into prosperity. I'm happy that the four themes of the conference, which is effective TVET systems, TVET funding models, technology and TVET and gender and social inclusion in TVET, focuses on the key areas that are critical to a responsive and transformative skills agenda for our continent. We want to learn about how, among others, the member states are leveraging investment in skills for sustainable growth. Excuse me. In a rapidly changing world of work, reliable information on current and future labor market trends and skill needs is crucial. However, many TVET systems in Africa do not have the latest and accurate labor market information systems from which the present and future demand for skills and qualifications in the labor market can be derived. It is important that our interventions on skills development are evidence-based, particularly in Africa, where resources for investment in skills are severely constrained. I am sure that this conference, with its notable speakers and panel discussions, will echo this message. Ladies and gentlemen, the African Union has developed key policy interventions that we believe, when implemented, would strengthen TVET outcomes in Africa. These strategies include the Continental Strategy for Technical Vocational Education and Training, TVET, the Continental Education Strategy for Africa, CESA, and the Science, Technology, and Innovation Strategy for Africa, which we call STISA 2024. Additionally, in partnership with AUDA NEPAD and with support from the German government and the European Union, we are implementing the Skills Initiative for Africa with the aim of enhancing the employment-oriented TVET for youth. Among the interventions under this initiative is the promotion of skills anticipation in African Union member states and the development of African Continental Qualification Framework. We believe these interventions will ultimately enhance skills development outcomes that are relevant to industry needs. We are looking forward to 3 days of open, candid, and insightful discussions on skill strategies for productive, innovative, and inclusive societies. I hope that the conclusions and recommendations of this conference will include actions towards the strengthened collaborations and partnership, especially with industry, and alignment of efforts and synergies toward the development of a workforce that is highly educated, skilled, creative, and innovative to be competitive in the 21st century. I wish you pleasant deliberations as we engage and endeavor to promote TVET and skills development for sustainable economic growth in Africa. I thank you for your attention.
Barui le balimi mono monamibia.
Thank you, Professor Belosin. I hope this time I've pronounced it correctly. Colleagues, please join me once again to give a warm hand of applause to our distinguished professor. Distinguished delegates, we are now coming to the highlight of our event, where we are going to be presented with a keynote address by our Honorable Dr. Ita Kanji Murangi, Minister of Higher Education, Technology, and Innovation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kanji Murangi to the stage to present the keynote address.
Nande buja ko wamboko kuleto yachike ko vusteine hakweto shilongo shiwa utalo miti na vanu utalo vanu no miti hakweto na shiko bawa.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Mr. Chris Humphreys, President and Chair of the Board of WorldSkils International, His Excellency Professor Mohamed Belhosseini, Commissioner for the African Union, Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers present, Honorable Neville Andre Itope, Governor of the Great Erongo Region, Dr. Alfred Van Kent, Executive Director of the Ministry of Higher Education, Technology, and Innovation, Mr. Amon Gavetene, Chairperson of the Board of the Namibia Training Authority, and other board members present, our esteemed partners and sponsors, heads of delegations, heads of institutions, local institutions, as well as those that are representing their respective countries from different parts of Africa and beyond, esteemed presenters and moderators, our competitors, distinguished invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me first and foremost to register Namibia's honor to have been bestowed the right by WorldSkils International to host the second WorldSkils Africa competition. Equally, as host, Namibia is excited by the many opportunities this event presents. We welcome the rare but important opportunity of having been identified on behalf of the African continent to promote technical and vocational education and training as a critical vehicle for inclusive socio-economic as well as sustainable development. The overarching purpose of this conference is to share best practices and to benchmark. This conference will further afford policymakers, experts, and industries to engage and compare knowledge and skills in the TVET sector under the theme, Promoting Skills Development in the 21st Century for Sustainable Economic Growth and African Ownership. The selected 4 sub-themes are equally relevant, and these are effective TVET systems, TVET funding models, TVET and technology, and gender and social inclusion in TVET. Excellencies and esteemed guests, Africa is hampered by a scarcity of skilled labor. Our continent continues to face big challenges in expanding access to basic skills training, to increasing employment opportunities, while at the same time providing remedial programs for the growing number of learners who leave school with no qualifications. It is a significant challenge because all of this must be achieved whilst ensuring that education remains equitable, relevant, and of good quality. A critical concern is the high levels of unemployment and underemployment that young people in Africa, and in particular women, continue to experience. Africa is a continent of contrasts, and therefore policies that work in one country may not necessarily yield the same outcomes in a different political-economic environment. Programs that succeed in one culture or country may not succeed in another. Governance models differ, and not all African countries are at the same stage of socioeconomic development. But we have one key common denominator, and that is the need to upskill and train adequately and appropriately the youth of this continent. Furthermore, as much as our goals and objectives are well formulated, mere recognition of the importance of TVET in national education and training policy frameworks and acknowledging its role as an impactful vehicle for acquiring employability skills are not enough to support sustainable growth. As African countries, we should link our TVET reforms to clear and realistic national, economic, and human resource development goals that consider values, culture, and the rate of technology uptake, as well as the impact of globalization on domestic skills development agendas. Meeting the skills challenge of the future not only require new ways of collaborations with industry and stakeholders, it also requires increased efforts at forging key effective strategic partnership and alliances at the regional and international levels. Esteemed delegates, amidst these challenges, we continue to embrace TVET in developing both skills needed for modernized economies, and just as importantly, in furthering social inclusion and to counter the increased levels of youth unemployment. Yes, the paradigm is shifting. At a macro level, we are witnessing several TVET skills development interventions being successful in various national contexts when used as a key component of an integrated employment generation and poverty alleviation strategy. However, there still continues to exist significant scope of more substantive and mutually beneficial cooperation in the TVET field. And while our country contexts differ, and our aim is not to replicate wholesale what has been done elsewhere, we must believe that we can and should learn from each other. Such lessons teach us much about what solutions are most likely to work, and just importantly, what are the mistakes we should avoid. Excellencies and esteemed guests, we therefore need to intensify our engagement towards strategic and mutually beneficial partnerships in bringing together industry, education, research in delivering continental TVET systems that are relevant to our development needs and which are able to respond to new technological, economic, and demographic challenges. I believe that if we value what we do and engage more enthusiastically in our work, we can make huge strides in developing Africa's TVET systems to better deliver the skills necessary for both present and future economic development. It was the famous American entrepreneur, Nelson James, who once said, and I quote, "You can't expect to meet the challenges of today with yesterday's tools and expect to be in business tomorrow," unquote. TVET gives Africa and the world the tools for the future. TVET is indeed the future. It is thus imperative that as we strive to expand access to TVET, we also begin to focus on outcomes, effectiveness, and enhanced access in generating more value from the resources availed for TVET. I think it is important for me to say this, maybe crafted in equation form. And this is to say, we gather here with experts in the area of TVET as African countries at different levels, particularly when we focus on TVET. The aim for us as governments is to ensure that we try by all means to see to it that TVET becomes the nexus, the fulcrum, the base that gives a push to TVET to ensure that new enterprises come out of it, self-employment come out of it, financial independence come out of it, and overall, our economic growth becomes a center of TVET. The question I have for the experts is, how do we, as African countries, perfect the training of instructors to ensure that at the end of the day, all the major goals that we heap on TVET are achieved for the betterment of the youth of this continent? Your Excellency, Professor Belhossein, African Union Commissioner, I will fail in my duty if I do not recognize the support by the African Union and the African Union Development Agency in making this conference possible. Allow me also to register our sincere appreciation to the German International Cooperation through the Skills Initiative for Africa program and the Association for the Development of Education in Africa for their role in organizing this platform. I also wish to thank our national and international partners for their generosity and support to make this competition a reality. Of course, I can go on. NBC, we value the partnership that we have with you, as well as many of our sponsors. The majority of our distinguished moderators and presenters, the experts, are drawn from the length and breadth of the great continent of Africa and beyond. The cooperation amongst various experts makes this platform an opportunity from which many will improve and enhance their activities and programs as we strive to better invest in TVET for Africa's interest. I therefore look forward to groundbreaking deliberations, knowledge-shaping discussions, and possible new inventions in TVET emanating from this important conference. With that, I thank you and welcome you all to Namibia. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been sitting for too long. Can we just can we just rise for 2 minutes just to relax a bit? Okay, you may be seated.
Ae o mahinu warika Namibia. Ae o mahinu warika Namibia. Ae o mahinu warika Namibia.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much for a befitting keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, join me once again to give a hand of applause to our Honorable Minister. We are progressing well with our program. It's now time to go to give a vote of thanks. And I would like to invite Mr. Muvatera Njode Siririka, the acting CEO of the Namibia Training Authority, to present us his vote of thanks. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Siririka to the stage.
No wawasho ushibanda no wawasho
Yes, good morning, Director of Ceremonies, Minister of Higher Education, Technology and Innovation, Honorable Dr. Ita Kanji Murangi, the AU Commissioner, Your Excellency, Professor Mohamed Belhassin, WorldSkils International President and Board Chairperson, Chris Humphreys, the Association for Development of Education in Africa, Executive Secretary, Mr. Albert, now Nsengi Yumva. I'm sure I will also go for the lesson. Esteemed stakeholders, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, morning colleagues. I've been tasked on behalf of the organizing committee and stakeholders of not only WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022, but the Namibia Training Authority and our country's training fraternity, as a whole, to register our heartfelt gratitude to those stakeholders who have contributed to this important milestone. We say thanks to the following. First and foremost, a special a word of appreciation go to our minister, Dr. Ita Kanji-Murangi, for continuing to drive our country's technical and vocational education and training sector to the shores of excellence through your guidance and insight. We appreciate your support, Honorable Minister. Secondly, allow me to recognize the message of His Excellency the AU Commissioner, Professor Mohamed Belhassin. Mother Africa's TVET endeavor is indeed guided by the vision of the AU, which is to have an integrated, peaceful, prosperous Africa driven by its people to take its rightful place in the global community. Our sincere gratitude goes to the WorldSkils International, represented by its president and chairperson, Mr. Chris Humphries, for the meaningful support and backing towards WorldSkils Africa Swakopmund 2022. It goes without saying that without your contribution, this endeavor would not have come to fruition. Fourthly, allow me to recognize the input of the Association of Development of Education in Africa, represented by its executive secretary. We trust that this support will carry on beyond a big event and bears more opportunities for development and upscaling within the TVET space and education across the continent. Sir, we also trust that you will convey our gratitude to Skills Initiative for Africa, SIFA, which is a program your organization implements in tandem with the European Union and the government of Germany, as well as the Association for the Development of Education in Africa. Together, you have contributed immensely to the organization of this conference. Thank you, and we remain indebted to you. Next, we recognize the gratitude and invaluable contributions of the electronic and print media. We look forward to your coverage as you continue to inform the continent about this event, as well as good work we are doing in concert with the development partners in uplifting our continent's TVET sector. Allow me to also recognize the efforts of all those project team members that have worked so hard behind the scenes to make all this possible. Director of Ceremonies, esteemed guests, meaningful deliberations over the next 3 days at this conference are of utmost importance. We need to foster cooperation. We need to grow partnerships. Allow me, therefore, to encourage you to not actively participate in the discussion that lie ahead, but also to come up with key recommendations on how we can re-engineer, reinvent our TVET systems towards enhanced sustainability and a true African ownership. However, more important is the spirit in which your engagement takes place. This is a platform for finding innovative solutions to the challenges we face, a platform to evaluate and take stock of the work we do, and a platform for improvement. It is also a platform for constructive engagement, a platform where we value the learning from different inputs and listen to and get smarter. A platform where we seek first to understand and then to be understood. A platform where we appreciate that blame or judgment will take us further from a solution and not even closer. Allow me also to extend my appreciation to our panel of local and international presenters and moderators who are joining us in this conversation. Thank you for your support. We look forward to you sharing your expertise and wealth of experience with us. We thank you very much. Thank you. Director of Ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again to give a hand of applause to Mr. Muvatera. We have now come to the end of our official opening ceremony for our conference. We will be singing the AU anthem and the national anthem, and thereafter we'll request the high table just to come in front here for a group photo. May we rise for the AU anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Namibia, land of the brave freedom fight, we have won. Glory to their bravery, whose blood waters our freedom. We give our love and loyalty, together in unity, contrasting beautiful Namibia, Namibia, our country, beloved land of savannas, hold high the banner of liberty. Namibia, our country, Namibia, motherland, we love thee. Bayede, Inkosi, Bayede, Inkosi, Bayede, Inkosi, Bayede, Inkosi,
Bom 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 bom.